All right, so remember from the very first day that Donald Trump announced he was running for president, combating violent crime carried out by illegal immigrants has been one of his top concerns. You may remember when he said this way back in 2015. Take a look.
The U.S. has become a dumping ground for everybody else's problems. When Mexico sends its people, they're not sending their best. They're not sending you. They're not sending you. They're sending people that have lots of problems, and they're bringing those problems with us. They're bringing drugs, they're bringing crime, they're rapists, and some, I assume, are good people. It's coming from more than Mexico. It's coming from all over South and Latin America, and it's coming probably from the Middle East.
All right, following those candid remarks, then candidate Donald Trump, remember, he was mocked, he was ridiculed, he was blasted, he was demeaned by the alt-left propaganda Destroy Trump press. Now, here's a small sampling of some of what took place when he said that.
When you say that immigrants from Mexico are criminals and rapists, isn't that spreading hate? The things that he considers just blunt talk, it is clearly offensive.
I'm outraged, Michaela. I can't understand how is it possible that a presidential candidate for the who wants to be president of the United States can speak and use hate language.
The natural reaction is to think he's a clown, let's ignore him. Say something derogatory to a Latino and they accept it. That is the disrespect that the Latino community felt. That's what bubbled up in social media.
Now, sadly, despite this outrage from the biased press, well, violent crimes that are carried out by illegal immigrants continue to take place, including just last week when, according to reports, 2 immigrants from Central America, 18-year-old illegal immigrant Henry Sanchez Milian, pictured right there, and 17-year-old Jose Montano, they allegedly brutally raped a 14-year-old girl in a bathroom stall. Now, this was at a high school in Maryland. Now, despite their age, the pair of alleged rapists were attending high school as 9th graders. They're here illegally, at least one of them. So this terrible crime is just the latest in a long list of Americans who are victims because of illegal immigration. Now, during the presidential election, the murder of Kate Steinle became, well, national news. Why? Because in 2015, she was murdered in the sanctuary city of San Francisco by an illegal immigrant who had been deported 5 times. We're not protecting the American people. Now, of course, these high-profile incidences, well, it's only the tip of the iceberg. Last year, right here on this program, we held a town hall with then-candidate Trump. And we had mothers whose children were killed at the hands of illegal immigrants. Just for a second, imagine if this were, God forbid, your child.
My son was an integral part of the community, and his life was cut short by a repeat criminal.
As the illegal drove by, he shot into the passenger side. My son was sitting at a red light, waiting for it to turn green. He was less than a mile from his home.
Now, for years, right here on this program, we have been raising real concerns about illegal immigration. We've been down to the border numerous times. Back in 2014, remember, I was with Governor Rick Perry down in Texas, and we sat in on a border security briefing. Listen to these crime statistics.
Criminal aliens have been responsible for about 642,000 criminal offenses.
Governor, I've been down to the border 8 times now. 8 times. And I'm learning things here today that I never knew of, and I'd like to consider myself pretty informed on this issue. 642,000 crimes in 7 years have an orchestra that we have brave men and women that are literally using military tactics to fight what they consider to be cartels. 642,000 crimes committed against Texans alone. Then between 2011 and February 2017, in the state of Texas, well, illegal immigrants were responsible for 1,162 homicide charges, 68,151 assault charges, and 6,098 sexual assault charges. Now, of course, Texas, that's not the only state impacted by criminal illegal immigrants. In 2015, 36.6% of all federal sentences were given to illegal aliens, including convictions for drug trafficking, kidnapping, and, yes, murder. Now, what I'm about to tell you, you're not going to hear this in the mainstream media. Between 2013 and 2015, despite the dangers we just showed you, the Obama administration released 86,288 criminal illegal immigrants right back into the general U.S. population. Now, thankfully, the era of Obama is over. We have a new president, and he has a new attitude. Watch this.
I met with many American families whose loved ones, sons and daughters, husbands and wives, were viciously killed by illegal immigrants. These American victims and their families were ignored by the media. The media doesn't want to talk about it. They don't want to talk about it. They were ignored by the consultants. They were ignored by Washington. But these Americans were not ignored by me. They were not ignored by you. You showed that on November 8th. They were not ignored by you, and they will never be ignored by any of us.
So President Trump is right, was right. We can never forget those whose lives were destroyed by illegal immigrants.